I'm going to go for the one shield. Full mods that farm down and keep that positive alignment with Glalie into Dewgong. The opponent reluctant to send Dewgong back into the arena. Trainer is just a rock tomb. It is just a rock tomb. Shadow Ball lands through 2 protection. The opponent near gets 1 shot. Out comes Dewgong, attempting the snipe, and snipe attempt unsuccessful. Guess who's back? It's your boy Jamie Finn, here on the home of Shadow Pokémon. Apologies to anyone that watches the channel regularly. I'm aware that uploads have been super inconsistent recently. However, today, we're not only back uploading, we're actually featuring my own gameplay, which is kind of rare nowadays. If you've been wondering where I've been, I've actually been working on myself. I decided, you know what, at 36, it's time to get my lazy ass back fit again. I'm considering returning to the boxing ring. I've been out running, I've been hitting the gym, and to be honest, it's done a world of good for my mental health as I'm feeling on top of the world. When it comes to Pokemon Go, I'll be honest, I've played very little Pokemon Go. Hardly any PvP, and certainly not any PvE either. I didn't even play the event at the weekend, that mighty event or something. It just didn't interest me, and to be honest, I've got no fear of missing out, as I honestly couldn't give a crap. I think a lot of Pokemon Go players, especially those of us that grind PvP, we have such a bad fear of missing out. We are honestly grinding almost daily. You always need TMs, you always need dust, you need the new Pokemon, yada yada yada. Sometimes you just need to take a break. Trust me when I tell you, it'll do you a world of good. In 2025, so many people have such an unhealthy relationship with their phone, an unhealthy relationship with this game in particular. We spend so much time on it, and honestly, just sometimes you just need to put it down. Give yourself a little break and just refresh yourself. Have a look around, go outside, do something that doesn't involve your phone, and I promise you, you'll feel better. However, let's get into today's video. That's enough of Jamie Finn lifestyle tips. So apparently this championship series, Shadow Pokemon are banned. However, someone tagged me on Discord saying Shadows are currently available, so I thought, why not head back to battle? I've looked at zero meta. I have no idea what typings are allowed. I definitely haven't watched them boring top team videos. Even when I liked the game, I couldn't sit through one of them. They absolutely bore the shit out of me. It's how I figured out this team. I headed to battle, typed in the word Shadow and saw it was eligible. We've already had great success this season. The Claydol plus Gyarados core. In the Open Great League, we ran a Lowland Sandslash to the lead. That is banned, so we opted for Glalie. With all that being said, without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we lead Glalie into Annihilape. We've got 2 things that resist fighting in the back, so despite there being a god-awful lead, it's not the worst situation. If I was still tilt with the game, I'd be like, fuck my life. We're getting RPS, but Claydol with that rock-type coverage, able to force a Protect Shield here in the mid-game matchup. Rock Tomb, not only super effective into flyers, also debuffs their attack, meaning the opponent's going to have to double throw, depleting their energy. I'm looking at their health thinking, can Glalie get the full rollout down? I don't know, but I guess we're going to try. Their debuff, we're going to tank 1 move, hopefully shield 1 move, fully rollout farm down, and then if Annihilape wants to re-enter the arena, you better believe we are going to Shadow Ball it to their face. Glalie commits to Protect Shield, do 3 rollouts, knockout in Glalie. I believe Glalie gets the farm down, leaving 100 energy. I'm looking top right. Annihilape re-enters the arena. I am full sending. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. Get that Annihilape off my screen. Out comes Metang. Glalie gonna full send yet another Shadow Ball. The opponent petrified. Put up that protection. We pivot out into Gyarados, and this game is signed, sealed, and delivered. The opponent overfarms, playing to the CMP tile. They do not win. Crunch. Absolutely catastrophic damage for the opponent. 1 Psyshock, simply not going to cut it. We tank the damage. The opponent recognise they cannot win the game, and they concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Altaria in the lead position. The opponent save switches into Bronzong. I was anticipating Metal Sound. They're actually on, what is this quick move? Feint Attack? Question mark. I think it's Feint Attack. I know they're Shield or Bulldoze. What the hell is this moveset? Who the fuck runs a Feint Attack plus Bulldoze combination? Perhaps as recommended, I've got no idea. We tank the next Bulldoze, get the full mod to that farm down, leaving with a bucketload of energy. Back out comes Altaria. Unfortunately, no Ice Beam. If I had it, I would have full sent it. And clearly, that Altaria would have near got 1 shot. But 2 Rock Tombs still going to do the job. The second Rock Tomb able to land. I attempt to snipe with Gyarados. The opponent saves Altaria, and out comes Piloswine. A 2-shielded Piloswine is a pretty terrifying pick. How we very quickly strip the first Protect Shield, firing off the Aqua Tail. The opponent perfectly overfarm just before the next Aqua Tail is reached. Icicle Sphere removes Gyarados from the field of play. If they're running Stone Edge, Shadow and Shadow Crime, that'll probably one-shot Glalie. I send out Glalie, Come on, Jamie, have big balls, call the bait. Clearly I didn't have balls. We invest to protect shield, and of course bait. I am such a potato. The opponent then attempts to sack Altaria. Sack attempt unsuccessful. One further rollout. We're doubled up. The first avalanche will be forcing the opponent's final protect shield. The second one hits for neutral. Going to be massive overkill, and despite getting baited about 3 times that battle, we're able to emerge victorious. Heading into the next battle. What the heck is that thing? That Gyarados is absolutely enormous. The opponent ends up throwing a really poor timing, I'll be honest. Whenever I'm facing a rollout user, my timing is horrendous. So I'm not going to hate on the opponent. They send out Oranguru. We fire off the Avalanche. Avalanche, massive damage. And we can now send out Claydol for the full Mud Slap farm down. I'm not a huge fan of Mud Slappers in general, but let me tell you, this Shadow Claydol is so bloody good. Not only good in this format, good in the Open Great League too. Back out comes Gyarados Claydol. Going to either knock out or force our Protect Shield back, firing off the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb, force our Protect Shield back. The opponent very nicely over farm, firing off the next Aqua Tail just before the Rock Tomb's reached. Aqua Tail removes me from the field of play, and I'm going to send out Gyarados as their debuff. This is likely the crunch. Despite not getting stabbed, it's still going to do a lot, but I'm going to save the final protection for Glalie. The opponent attempts a catch onto Dewgong. Catch attempt unsuccessful, and Glalie re-enters the arena. Glalie wastes no time, fires off the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball, massive damage. I'm thinking they're probably Icy Wind bait, even if they force in a Drill Run, which they do. Drill Run simply not going to cut it. Glalie shrugs off the damage, reaches one further Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball knocks out Dewgong. Gyarados Dragon Breath farms me down. We're going to Dragon Breath farm them down and take that game. In the next battle, this time we see Dewgong in the lead position. The opponent save switch into Oranguru. So what I was always doing when I saw an Oranguru save switch in, you can fire off the Avalanche as soon as you get it, which is good timing. Get some chip-it-up action and then send out Claydol. In an ideal world, of course, I want to keep alignment. If they go for double Brutal Swing, you can tank both. If they go for Trailblaze plus a Brutal Swing, you are forced to shield this move. But still not a bad spot to be in, to be honest. You leave a bucket of energy, and you're actually going to double Rock Tomb Dewgong. If it re-enters arena with that in mind, the opponent sends out Runarigas. It's just a Rock Tomb. The opponent fucks about. They found out. Near get one shot. They attempt to snipe with Dewgong. Claydol, still not done. Fires off the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb, able to land quick switch into Glalie. The opponent's already had enough, and they concede the match. I was just talking about how good Claydol is, and that is a fantastic example of what an absolute menace it can be. In the next battle, we see another Dewgong in the lead position. I haven't been checking my YouTube feed or whatsoever. Who put the Dewgong video out? I'm going to say it's Axon, because whatever he posts seems to spread through the Go Battle League like wildfire. Keep them coming, and I will keep punishing them with this Glalie. As the opponent's debuff me with an Icy Wind, I wasn't confident a double resisted Avalanche would knock out, so I forced in the next Shadow Ball, and the opponent, like a savage, catch on Oranguru. Trainer, I've got a bloody family. However, still not a bad position to be in. You know the drill, just counter-swapping Claydol. Well, they can hit for super effective with both Brutal Swing and Trailblaze. We do resist Confusion, as Psychic resists itself when Mud Slaps hit for neutral. Claydol able to keep alignment in the mid-game matchup. Out comes Runarigas, and once again, we're forcing in the Shadow Ball. The question is, does this opponent respect the damage? They do not. Once again, near get one shot, and this is definitely like an Axon team or something, and I'm sure this is the same team in 2 consecutive battles, both times with the opponent reverse 2 shield flexing and saving both of them shields for next season. Heading into the next battle, I see Big Daddy Golurk in the lead position, despite them being a ground type and me being an ice type. That is not a good matchup for me. I say switch into Claydol, and out comes Gyarados. Shadow and Shadow Crime. My Claydol is very, very high rank. Aqua Tail simply doesn't get the job done, where Rock Tomb certainly will, meaning we should be forcing a Protect Shield here in the mid-game matchup. And despite it looking like we're getting hard countered, I'll be honest, I was pretty happy with the situation. Whilst I wasn't a huge fan of Glalie into Golurk, in even energy and 2 Protect Shield scenario. Now they've only got 1 shield, and I intend to fully roll up farm this Gyarados down, leaving at 100 energy. I just hope I don't get myself into 1 Mud Slap range. We do leave at 100 energy. I'm looking top right. The opponent sends out Charizard to bank all my energy, and here comes Gyarados. Gyarados never shielding this first move, as Air Cutter does have a chance to boost. Thankfully, no boost does occur. The opponent pivots out, making a very nice catch. Onto Daddy Golurk. I go for the undercharge. The undercharge, an absolute beauty, able to farm down. We fire off this Aqua Tail, and this game is signed, sealed, and delivered. We fire off the Aqua Tail. The opponent invests to Protect Shield. We're just going to allow ourselves to get farmed out, not transfer an Ember and get knocked out. fire off a charge move. However, they actually are unable to Ember Farm down Gyarados, so Gyarados will clean up. Heading into the next battle, we see the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death in the lead position. I throw one rollout, transfer the Incinerate onto Claydol. The opponent stays in. Are they going to bird? No, they're not, thankfully. I haven't thrown a single Rock Tomb bait. Against the Psychical Ghost type this time, we go for the bait, and this is why you don't throw it. The opponent offered me the chance to take back Switch, and I fumble the bag. I think this battle in particular is a candidate for one of the worst battles I've ever played. And I've played since pre-season. It is a mess from start to finish. Here we attempt to roll out Farm Down. I'm thinking, please tell me that rollout knocks out. Because if not, it's going to be a double dynamic punch. That rollout certainly doesn't knock out. And I don't even catch the dynamic punch on the Gyarados. And I've given up both Protect Shields here. I'm in absolute shambles. Out comes a blast from the past. Meta-chan. Yes, basic bitch Meta-chan. Holy cow, the opponent actually tanked the Shadow Ball. Pivot into Talonflame. And perhaps we've got a slim but fighting chance. Gyarados wastes no time. Fires off the Aqua Tower. The opponent's smart. They farm up to 100 energy. aka double fly. And this game should be over. Whilst we are going to force both Protect Shields. We have got to move on Glalie. But we certainly do not win CMP. Wait, the opponent Brave Birds. Are you kidding me? We're able to roll out Farm Down, leaving with the Shadow Ball. I definitely don't deserve to win this match, but the opponent's choice of moveset gave me a way out. GG's to that opponent. I definitely think they deserve to win, but it is what it is, and after that battle, I definitely stopped playing and went to bed. These battles are played today. We don't see a great lead. However, thankfully, it's just the Shadow Punch into Glalie, which is survived by pause. Ensure the Avalanche lands on its intended target before counter-swapping Gyarados. Gyarados instantly have to give up the Protect Shield, blocking up an incoming Shadow Punch. I haven't used Shadow Gyarados yet. Firstly, what the heck have you been doing? And secondly, it is hella Glassy. You're going to see just how glassy it is, because these Ice Shards may as well be super effective as they're absolutely melting down my Gyarados. We land the crunch, fire off the Aqua Tail on CMP, winning CMP, and this chip damage is very important. Hopefully puts in a range where we can Mud Slap Farm Down in 4 and not get debuffed. Dewgong's bulky. Do 4 Mud Slaps knock out? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Nope, they do not. So we catch back onto low health Glalie. Again, we've got a chance here. Kind of depends what's in the back. It's going to be Claydol versus the world. Out comes Jump Bluff. Again, I really wish I had Ice Beam, but I don't. So we're going to have to fire off the Rock Tomb. The opponent tanked the damage, which is brutal for me. This is likely the Energy Ball. I think most people are on Twin Nukes nowadays, as Aerial Ace is garbage. The opponent fire off the Energy Ball. I see Dust Noir come in. I'm going to undercharge, try and debuff the Astonish damage. The undercharge again looks like a good one, but the opponent's got far too much energy. 1 Mud Slap and the next Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. Despite my best efforts, we get outpaced, and whatever they throw at this point is going to be all she wrote. Very, very tough team for me. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see Bronzong in the lead position. This one's actually running Metal Sound, which is kind of what I expected all the Bronzong to be running. I think the last Faint Attack one was kind of an anomaly. I think Metal Sound is the way to go, or potentially might see a Confusion one, as Confusion's also been buffed this season. I say this to Claydol, baiting at Oranguru, which is by no means the worst matchup. You can see just the fast move pressure is chunking them, whereas we're only taking charge move damage, to be honest. The opponent all down 1 Protect Shield. Do they want to go all in on this Oranguru? And if they do, this now opens up the door for me to Shadow Ball that Bronze onto the face, and that is definitely what I'm going to look to do. If you learn one thing from today's video, is when shields are down, Shadow Glalie absolutely goes to town. The opponent going to reach 1 departing charge move. We can tank this no problem whatsoever. It's the brutal swing. They then aggressively send back out Bronzong. Side Shock is survivable, not well, but well enough to undertap this Shadow Ball, and Shadow Ball is going to land for massive damage. There's a 1-hit KO. Get that Bronzong off my screen. We pivot into Gyarados. The opponent sends out the Digimon. Honestly, this thing is in the wrong game, but don't worry, it's very quickly going to return to its Pokeball. We Dragon Breath Farm down Oranguru and take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Turtonator in the lead position. I really like that 1 rollout and then switch play. You transfer the Incinerate onto Claydol. You get a small energy lead on Glalie, and if they throw the Brutal Swing instantly, it ends up being an alignment, meaning you sneak a Mud Slap too. This time we force on the Shadow Ball, and much to my disappointment, it bounces off the Protect Shield. However, when you're using a save switch, you always want to try and gain some kind of advantage in the mid-game matchup. And we've got a shield advantage, which is certainly something we can work with. We tank the Psychic. I'm going to overfarm slightly, fire off the Avalanche, keeping 2 shields intact. Avalanche moves them from the field of play once again, 1 rollout, and then I transfer the Incinerate onto Gyarados. Gyarados is my only remaining healthy Pokemon, so I'm going to invest the Protect Shield despite me knowing it's only a brutal swing, and out comes Oranguru. You better believe there is no point in baiting. We're going to full send the crunch, guarantee massive damage, all the protection. The opponent looks to call the bait, near get 1 shot. Gyarados can now shield. Dragon Breath farm down this monkey. Turtonator also going to get Dragon Breath farm down. Or actually, I think I go for double Aqua Tail. In case I couldn't Dragon Breath farm down, as I can just reach back to back. The first one, forced to Protect Shield. The second is going to knock him out. And despite seeing an awful lead, I will be emerging victorious. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see another Dewgong in the lead position. So I've had to hazard a guess. I was going to say, it's likely going to be an Oranguru safe switch. However, this opponent actually safe switched into Turtonator, and I've got one very nice answer for that in the form of our Claydol. We tank the brutal swing. I go straight for the Rock Tomb, and the thought process here, I'm going straight for this Rock Tomb. Because I won't take the next Incinerate, meaning we're going to reach one further Rock Tomb if Dewgong re-enters the arena. Dewgong does indeed re-enter the arena. We're going to fire off the Rock Tomb. That's not only super effective, but also going to debuff him. And now they're debuffed. Claydol just going to be so dominant here. The opponent can fire for Drill Run, Icy Wind, whatever you want to do, trainer. You enjoy yourself. They're not quite in Shadow Ball range yet, so I actually bank the energy. Look to catch the Drill Run onto Gyarados. Honestly, what is wrong with these bloody Dewgong users? Who Icy Winds a fucking mono Ice type? Are you kidding me? Also, trainer Gyarados might be Glassy buddy, but Aqua Tail, non-stab from Gudra, not going to cut it again. Not entirely sure why he'd shield a crunch. Surely this Ice type. It's going to have an Ice type move that will do more. We fire off the Avalanche. Avalanche able to knock out Gudra. We're now going to be able to roll out this Dewgong into Shadow Ball range. And on a weird turn of events, end up 2 shield flexing. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see another opponent running Shadow Claydol. I would say you love to see it. I'll be honest, I didn't love to see it. We say switch into our own Claydol, baiting out Dewgong, and this is why Claydol is such a menace. There's a type advantage matchup for the opponent, but of course they're a Dewgong. We're going to shield the first move, and as we debuff them before they debuff us, we can tank this move and even reach one further Rock Tomb, and this is like an absolute best case scenario. This Rock Tomb now going to force a 2-stage debuff on them and put them in a range where we can roll out farm down afterwards. Much like the Golurk matchup we saw previously, I didn't like it in the 2-shield scenario in even energy, but when we've got a shield advantage and a huge energy lead, I definitely fancy it. Back out comes Claydol. This is at -1, but Shadow and Shadow Crime nearly picks up the 1-hit KO. Quick switch into Gyarados. Tap, 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 tap. Nom, 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 nom. Quick Dragon Breath snipe, and we take that game. Heading into the next one. Now that is a pick. A Shadow Charm Gardevoir. Oof. The opponent actually does me kind of a favour. Save switching into Oranguru. We look to go for some chip into action. Fire off the Avalanche. We actually end up forcing a Protect Shield, which isn't bad. We tank the first move, which is the Trailblaze. I'm going to shield the next move. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to get rid of that Gardevoir at this point. We shield the Brutal Swing, throw one Mud Slap and the Rock Tomb. I don't think this will quite be lethal. We should be able to farm down afterwards. The opponent actually double shield. And now I'm thinking, do you know what? I could probably just crunch that Gardevoir. Crunch does do slightly more than Aqua Tail. Marginally anyway, especially when both moves are neutral. So I send out Gyarados. I'm going to invest the Protect Shield and hope a Crunch knocks out. It's Shadow and Shadow Crime, right? Gardevoir's hella glassy. Back out comes Gardevoir. Does a Crunch knock out from here? I thought so, but spoiler alert, it does not. It comes close. We end up sniping with our Galalie to get an energy, hoping to nuke whatever's in the back. Ah, man. Girafarig, just about bulky enough to survive an Avalanche. For a Shadow and Shadow Crime. Would have been able to roll out farm down. Unfortunately, regular just survived, leaving with the charge move. And unfortunately, this one ends in heartbreaking defeat. What a crazy team that was. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see the return of the Turtonator lead. I went to throw one rollout and transfer the Incinerate, but this one is actually running Ember. Interesting. They still stay in for some chip into action, as clearly they have no great response, and that kind of works for me very nicely as we get off a huge amount of Mud Slap damage. We're able to debuff this Oranguru before they reach the first Brutal Swing, meaning we're going to tank this move and either force a Protection or flip alignment here in the mid-game matchup. Does the opponent want to keep that alignment? They do not. Claydol, just a monster. Back out comes Turtonator, but look at the work that Claydol put in, removing one last Pokemon. We've got a lot of energy. We respect the potential Dragon Claw. It's only the Brutal Swing, and out comes an opposing Glalie, and I am in trouble. The opponent has no reason to bait. This will be the Shadow Ball. Ouch. I'm thinking, if I survive that rollout, we get off back-to-back avalanches, and I kind of need some damage. But unfortunately, the rollout knocks me out, and we are now in a dire situation. My win con is the opponent trying to make a catch. I'm just going to keep farming up. Wait. There is the catch attempt. This is only a Brutal Swing. Please tell me we're not going to be in one rollout range. I'm going to throw 2 Dragon Breaths and the Aqua Tail. We survived the rollout. We've got like 100 energy. We fire off the Aqua Tail. As I said previously, Crunch does do slightly more. So we fire off the Crunch, and that is going to be all she wrote. Oof. Dicey. In the next battle, we see the Kentucky Fried Chicken Bird of Death in the lead position. I was going to throw 1 rollout and transfer Incinerate onto Claydol, but the opponent actually instant pivot out into Oranguru. So here comes Claydol. Claydol tanks the Trailblaze, 1 Mud Slap, and the Rock Tomb for optimal fast move timing. I could actually flip this matchup, but you know what? I could just roll out Farm Down. Shadow Talonflame is hella glassy. Avalanche will be one-shotting, so I'm just going to take the energy lead instead. This is actually an advantageous spot when rollout doesn't get the same type of attack bonus because we get loads of farm. The opponent reluctant to send Talonflame back into the arena, send out Goodra, and Trainer, are you serious? The first Avalanche forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. 1 further roller and the next Avalanche. Trainer, you need to throw. Trainer, you don't get that farm down. The opponent tries the farm down. They don't get it. Glalie reaches yet another Avalanche. Glalie picks up the 1-hit KO quick switch into Gyarados. The opponent says, nope, you've got me, and they concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see My Little Pony in the lead position. This is definitely a somewhat of a core breaker. This thing is so bloody spammy. Gyarados awful into it, especially if it's running Wild Charge. And Claydol not particularly good either. Definitely needs to watch out for potential Mega Horn. We stay in, tank back-to-back body slams, undertap this Avalanche. Avalanche will one-shot or force the first protection of the game. The opponent obliged, putting up the protection, and I send out Claydol. Again, the opponent looks to bait a potential Mega Horn. Do they run Mega Horn in this meta? I don't know. We respect it and get bloody body slam baited. You hate to see it. The opponent sends out Oranguru. They give me a huge energy lead. We fire the first Rock Tomb, applying the first debuff. The opponent is going to be able to outpace by a single turn. It's either the Trailblaze or Brutal Swing, whichever they wish to throw. They fire off the Brutal Swing, 1 further Mud Slap, and the next Rock Tomb. To be honest, I wish they'd shield. So that'd give me the opportunity to knock out My Little Pony with Gyarados. Unfortunately, we don't get the shield, but we have got switch. The opponent sends out Dewgong, aka the Digimon. We save Claydol, make the catch onto Gyarados, catching the Night Slash. The opponent stays in. We get off a heap of Dragon Breath damage. I am going to invest a Protect Shield here. We need that My Little Pony to dump its energy and potentially just Mud Slap farm down everything. Although, is that possible? Let's see. We're able to Mud Slap farm down. They look healthier than we are. However, they actually got 1 turn bring in. This one should have been a tie, but actually ends in victory. I kind of feel bad, but game's shit, let's be honest. We take what we're given. In the next battle, we see Dusknoir in the lead position. I'm really surprised to see the opponent pivot out. So they're likely running some kind of ABB team. Looking to bait out my ground type and like a potato. I've given my ground type. Oh, we try and Mud Slap farm down. Please tell me Gyarados Ball doesn't knock out. Claydol, I love you. I absolutely love you. I'm looking top right. If Dusknoir re-enters the arena, I am full sending. Trainer is just a Rock Tomb. Would I lie to you? I'm a very honest man. Shadow Ball, bang! Not quite a bang, but massive damage. We send out Gyarados, and out comes Bronzong. So it is indeed a double steel team. They managed to bait out my ground type, but thankfully Gyarados very, very good into steel types. Despite the opponent still having 2 shields, we still full send a Crunch, and the RNG gods smile upon me, reward me with that defense drop. That's now only a 10% chance. As their debuff, we fire off the Aqua Tail, but knows only an Aqua Tail, tank the damage, but it does far too much and kind of puts us in a crazy position. Where despite rollout being resisted and non-stab, we are going to be able to roll out farm them down unless they pivot out. We shield the first side shot, the opponent fires off the next one. Pivot out into Dusknoir, we're doubled up on avalanches. The first one will be forcing the opponent's first Protect Shield. The second one will be moving Dusknoir from the field of play. Switch timers up, we pivot back into Gyarados, Dragon Breath farm down, and take that game. Heading into the next battle, this time we see Oranguru in the lead position. So good time using 3 turn into 4 turn. You want to throw 5, that'd be 15 turns into 16 turns. We fire off the Avalanche. Avalanche goes unshielded. And here the opponent's forced to throw out bad timing. So if they go for 2, we'd outpace the next Avalanche. Opponent fires off the Brutal Swing, then end up throwing back to back on alignment. I'm going to bank this energy and pivot into Claydol and look to get an into lead. The opponent actually tried to snipe with Turtonate, and this ends up being like a best case scenario. We save our hard hitting charge move for the end game. And we should be able to very easily maintain alignment in the mid-game matchup. I highly doubt they shield, because who really wants to shield such a low health debuff Pokemon? Clearly not my opponent. Claydol removes Turtonator from the field of play. It doesn't leave too much farm. Out comes an opposing Glalie. Glalie gonna fall victim of the debuff treatment. Rock Tomb forced to protect shield. Looks like we're getting some mad stutter lag here. Then the opponent tries to pivot out, attempting to snipe. We bank our energy in turn, snipe them down. Back out comes Glalie at full health. As they're not the Shadow, we do survive an Avalanche. Not well, but well enough to reach the Aqua Tail. And as soon as we get to this move, this is over. The opponent knows we've got a Rock Tomb banked. With that in mind, tank the Aqua Tail. My Glalie's healthier than theirs, so we can just roll out farm down and take that game. In the next battle, again, we see Turtonate in the lead position. I'll be honest, I anticipate most being on Incinerate. This one is. We throw the rollout, transfer the Incinerate onto Claydol. Again, the opponent goes straight for the Brutal Swing. We say thank you very much for the free mod slap. And then out comes Gyarados. We should be forcing a Protect Shield here in the mid-game matchup, or not. Look at the health. Do you know what, Train? If you're going to give me the option to realign, you better believe I'm going to keep Glalie well away from your Turtonator and put Gyarados on it instead. We're able to fully double resisted, mod slap farm down. Sometimes the Go Battle League isn't that complicated. Alignment is king. Out comes Oranguru. We can now put Glalie onto this monkey and Gyarados onto Turtonator. I send out Glalie. The opponent pivots out into Turtonator. We throw one roll out again. Transfer the Incinerate onto Gyarados. Gyarados wastes no time. Fires off the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail goes unshielded. The opponent put all the hopes and dreams on this monkey. They're going to try and boost their way for the remainder of my team. Here I should always crunch. The reason for that is I'm only reaching one move, and Crunch does have a small debuff chance. I fire off the Aqua Tail like an absolute potato, but regardless, we should still be fine. Again, we're not going to shield this move in case they fire off another Trailblaze, looking to vamp themselves up. They actually fire off the Brutal Swing. It's going to be a fast move, beat down to the finish. We roll out, farm them down before they confusion farm me down, and we take that game. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's Shoutcast. Whilst I would 100% recommend running this very fun team, of course, Shadows are supposed to be banned in this cup. So by the time you see this video, potentially this team is unavailable to play. With all that being said, enjoy the content, smash that like button if you're new, consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on my channel. My battle submission form is linked down below, and as always, huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.